So I know it's been a while since I posted anything on the channel. There's been some busy things happening in my life, but I thought I'd make this video just to go over a few things that I want to share, a few channel updates, and then get into the topic that I want to talk about for today. I'm finishing up a new warband here, which means I will have an additional 3 warbands over the original ones that I had talked about on the channel. So I think another video going over different types of warbands might be due soon. Also recently painted this kind of necromancer warlocky looking guy. He's a Knucklebones miniatures sculpt for Death Wizards, I believe. I will be using him as my warlock for Mordeim. I put out a game. It's called Judgment of the Realm Lords. It's a fantasy adventure game where you travel across the land, killing monsters, getting gold, and buying yourself powerful treasure and weapons to try and strengthen yourself, gain levels, get stronger stats, get better equipment, and beat the boss at the end of the game. So there's a bit of a time limit, and you're traveling around managing your resources, collecting better equipment, and trying to kill 3 minor bosses or get lucky enough to encounter the big evil boss, the Death Lord, and fight him. So this is a game I'm really proud of. I did all the artwork from myself. But if you are interested in something like this, there'll be a crowd sale at the Game Crafter, which is for every 10 copies that sell, the price goes down for everybody. And then when the sale is over, everybody gets to enjoy the discount from their collective purchase. So if you're interested in games that are highly portable but offer pretty good replayability, there's 10 different characters and over 45 unique items. If you like variety but small packages, this might be for you. Link to the crowd sale will be in the description. You can either set a reminder if you're here before May 13th. If you're here after, then the sale might still be on, so the link will send you to the same place. Go ahead and pick up a copy. Also working on a Nippon warband. So there's a Cathay warband in one of the lower grades on Broheim. I think it's kind of a shame that Nippon has not been very well represented in Warhammer, and I wanted to make a warband that feels like different than just the Cathay warband. So not just a reskin, but a completely new warband based around samurai and things like that. So a lot more testing needs to be done. I haven't run the warband yet, so all of this could change. But anyway, I thought that was kind of a cool thing. I thought it'd be cool to see like a samurai warband. Another announcement, I'll be at Nemo this year. Under the Dice Fest is obviously happening in a little less than a week now. Yeah, less than a week now. And so I'm trying to compile all the things that I'm bringing. We're going to be running the clattering there, and that should be really fun. We're going to have a lot of people who I think are interested in playing, and we're going to just kind of pilfer some boards after, after hours, after Nemo's over, and maybe even before and after Nemo entirely on different days. We're going to try and put boards together to make a giant table and run the clattering. I've got all the quest cards are here, tons of weird stone. Got a guide for new players. Got loot tables. I'll need to print some more of these, but so if we have treasure chests and stuff, you can roll on these tables. I'll bring some extra monsters, and then I have these cards for writing out rules for creatures we don't have rules for. So I'll have a stack of these. If anybody brings, say, a giant or a dragon or whatever, we can write out its stats and leave this on the table. And then last thing I want to talk about is something I'm excited about to announce. So you've seen I did a video on the Procession of More, the first narrative campaign I wrote. It was about players going through and escorting a priest through the city to try and figure out why the dead are not resting. And you kind of uncover this mystery and duke it out with your friends to gather secrets to learn about what is going on, and then have a battle with a climactic battle with the final boss at the end. So that's cool. That's still around. I'll throw the link to that in the description, and it can also be found on broheim.net. but I've finally drafted up and tested a few times, and now I'm ready to release my second narrative campaign called Night of the Black Moon. So this campaign takes place in Mordeim as well. It deals with this shady organization that was once a benefactor of Mordeim has disappeared. They disappeared before the comet hit, and then apparently now in the years following they've been sighted in Mordeim again, and people are wondering why they've returned. Maybe they're here to find their lost treasures, maybe they have some other secrets. So that's what the players are here to investigate. And it's a cool campaign because I wrote it a little differently. This one is a bit of a linear story. You're still gonna have, wild and varied events, and there's a bit of variation between games, depending on what happens to your priest, whether or not they level up. You can get your priest stronger. But this has 7 possible scenarios, but it's only a 5-game campaign, so it's very short, which is nice. You can get kind of a bite-sized story in, but it has a branching path. So while there are 7 scenarios, you're only going to be playing 5 games. So depending on what the winner of each scenario wants to do, they can influence the path the story takes. So you can play it a few times and get, a different path. So that was kind of cool. And then another thing I introduced were epilogues. So after each game, depending on the outcome, you read a different entry in the book. So, for example, let's take a look here. For scenario 1, it just says at the end of the game, read epilogue 1. So there's only one possible scenario, or one possible solution to this one. For scenario 2, though, which you might not get to second. You might go from here to scenario 3, or maybe you can go to 2 or 3. For here, there's a few possible epilogues. So if this was the second game of the campaign, you read epilogue 2, and if it was the third, you read 3. And then some of the other ones get even more varied. Here's some notes from playtesting. But for example, for this one, if this was game 2, read 4 if the ritual was disrupted, or 5 if the ritual was completed. So now the story is being influenced by the outcome of the scenario. So we'd go back in the book and read this entry, and then this will tell us what key item the winner gets, and then what scenarios are available to play next. So the winner gets a key item that will affect the plot a little bit. It's an item that they can use pretty much in any battle. They have some effect they can use, but there's also kind of a key effect, like a one-time use kind of effect that pertains to how the story is resolved. So you'll need some special models to play. You'll need 4 cultists or similar per player, and at least 10. You'll need 1 cult leader. You'll need a large demon, and you'll need at least 1 shrine, obelisk, statue, or similar per player. These are just to represent, certain objectives on the board. They don't have to be super complex. They could be, as extravagant as, something like this, a big old statue that you paint up real nice, or they can be something small. They can be a little token like that, or whatever you have. They can even be just a base, an empty base if you want. Just something to represent kind of objective markers. So I have my bag of cultists here. I've got about 20 in here just to be sure, but you only need 4 per player. But regardless of how many players you have, you need at least 10. So whichever is more, 4 per player or 10. And then you'll also need 6 tokens numbered 1 through 6, blank on one side, and then the numbers on the other. I just used bases because they're easy to pick up and move around. You can do thematic things though if you want. Just make sure that they are identical on one side and that they have 1 through 6 on the other. And these are going to be used just to introduce random elements to the board. There are some where you reveal it, and if it's even or odd, there might be a trap where you might find some clues or something. Another one is they are wandering around the board face down, and when you reveal it, that's how many cultists are in a group that will jump out and ambush you. So yeah, just have six tokens, identical but numbered on one side. You'll need a maximum of 5 weirdstone counters as well, because it's a shorter campaign. I wanted to include additional ways for players to gain gold and experience between games. because in a shorter campaign, you don't get to normally see the full growth of a warband. So basically, like the Weirdstone Hunt scenario, you're going to be distributing some Weirdstone around every scenario. So while the objectives are clear in each scenario, you know, you have a goal to accomplish, there's also the secondary objective of secure more Weirdstone for the warband. One thing I should also say is this campaign is meant to be played with the same players each game. So if you have 3 players, you're going to want to play every game with those 3 players. You can't mix and match. With the Procession of More, you are allowed to mix and match players because the story is linear and there's no real difference in who you fight. So you can mix and match players and all go through this together separately. But in this one, you have to play with the same opponent or group of opponents each game, because what happens is somebody might get an item from, say, game 2, you get this Amulet of Nemris, whatever that does. Well, 2 players can't both have the amulet. And if you're playing in separate groups and one person wins that scenario and same person wins that scenario in your group, and then you mix and match, you could have 2 people with the same key item, which isn't how the story works. So same group plays through each scenario together in this one. And then like in any campaign I run, I have contingencies for if any players miss a game. So there's some catch-up mechanics in play here. So that's how the campaign works. I could give you brief descriptions of these scenarios on offer here. Finding the clues is all about running around searching the ruins, trying to find clues as to what is going on. And then the hideout is cool because you have players, you basically play a game of Occupy, where you're trying to control buildings, but you also have enemies wandering about that might hinder you. So a slight twist on the Occupy scenario. You've got this Disrupt the Ritual scenario, which is sort of you have a fight towards the central site where there's some kind of ritual taking place, and you have to do some objective before the time runs out. So there's kind of 2 different ways to win this one, and you can also lose this one. In this scenario, players can fail altogether, in which there would be no winner. Conducting the ritual, you learn how to do whatever's happening here, and perhaps your warband can attempt the same thing here. So you are trying to run around and secure objective sites while also protecting the main site in the middle. And the only way you can complete the ritual is if you control those external sites while controlling the center. So there's a bit of pressure on the player who tries to do it to spread out, which could make it harder to complete the objective, but still gets very tense and very close, and that's a really fun one. For here, you are traveling around hunting down enemies, basically scouring the ruins, trying to root the enemies out from their hiding places and slaughter all of them. And then this one, you're hunting down one specific character. So the players are fanning out, searching buildings as fast as possible to try and reveal this guy, and then try and kill him before he escapes, which can be slightly difficult because he has some unique movement mechanics. And then the final scenario is a massive climactic battle with a great evil, and there's some really cool boss fight mechanics in here. It's not as easy as just running up and wailing on him till he's dead. Certainly you could get lucky and that happens, but the boss of the campaign is going to be moving around each turn using unique powers and random abilities. So each turn, so like if the enemy is fighting you, on each turn they're going to be doing something random, so you can't really predict what the enemy is going to do. It's not as easy as just duking it out and hoping your dice roll better. You kind of have to hope that you're positioned right, and then when the enemy does their main attack, hope that it doesn't wipe out your warband, because the players can lose the campaign. The players can lose as one. Worked a lot more story into this one, did a lot of, all of this writing is my own, and so I hope people test it and give me notes, because while this is the version that's out, it might not be the final version. We might have people test it, say, hey, this didn't quite work, or I don't like how this worked. Please send me notes. I leave my email address on the inside, on the first line here, or you can comment on the video or whatever. I'll see it and I'll try and make changes to make this as best as it can be. So yeah, that's really all I have for you. If you're at Nemo, I hope to see you there. I know I've never really showed my face on camera, but if you see someone wearing a SoCal Mordeim logo, maybe ask them if it's me, or ask them if they know where I am. If you want to chat or whatever, we'll be playing the clattering, so we'll be easy to find if we're there. But anyway, thanks for watching. I know this is a bit of a scatterbrained video, but I hope to have some more content out soon once life slows down a little bit. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have fun.